Okay, folks, so Massive has been around for 15 years. This fall we're going to have our 15-year anniversary party. We started off, as you know, with RTS games. So we did Ground Control Dark Conspiracy, and then Ground Control 2. And then we were acquired by Vivendi, and we released this lovely game, Whirling Conflict. And then we were acquired by Ubisoft, and have been working on a bunch of things since then. But when they asked us to do a shooter, it was like a dream that we'd had for a long time. Because most of the guys on the team, of course, play all sorts of games, but we play a lot of shooters. So it was a really, really cool opportunity for us to get to work on Far Cry. I said we are 230 people. We come from around 25 different countries. So we have Finnish people, we have Danish people. Do we have a Norwegian?
Not yet.
I don't think we do.
They can help us get.
So if you know anybody in Norway, ask them to give us a call. We do speak English all the time. So around 40% of the people who work here are non-Swedish speakers. And I think that's the way the game industry is going in most countries. So this is the cafeteria. We have breakfast here. We had a problem for many years. As you know, people who like games also like to sleep. So we had a problem with getting people to show up at work on time. So we decided to have free breakfast until 9 o'clock. So if you actually show up on time, you get rewarded. So it's like an RPG. We have all the management down here because we want to have management close to the coffee machine and the lunch break. And it works out really well because that's the most natural moment for people to kind of just stop by with a cup of coffee and say, hey, do you have a moment? Instead of having the opposite, if I was on 4th floor, you know, in the corner, it would be very official to go and visit me. So we try to consciously have a very, very smooth way to understand what's going on in the teams. The game is ready for you. You're going to play here in just a short while. We also have a bunch of computers set up down in the test lab. So I think we're going to have people playing both down there and up here. That also means that the game today is playable. It doesn't matter if you want PC controls or controller controls. Just tell the QA guy what you prefer, and you can choose anything. I was working on Assassin's Creed. We did the Coma stuff, Desmond's Journey, and recently the DLC called The Lost Archive. I always mix it up, Lost Chapter, Lost Archive. Lost Archive, which was a game that we really, really enjoyed doing because it was so different and so poetic. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, but we're extremely happy that we did it. So for us that was good, which is right now in a super, super, super heavy crunch pre-alpha. So the guys are stretching their capacity to the max. Martin is able to produce a report for you in 48 hours. So you get all types of reading and you can start making really, really smart and informed decisions.
How many trips did you do to Peru?
That's secret.
But you can talk about your guns, man.
Yes, I can talk about the guns. So as you know, we do action games, we do war games, and guns are important. I guess all of you play shooters, or otherwise you wouldn't be here. And you know that the feeling of the gun is important. And just like probably most of you guys, most of the guys who work here don't run around shooting guns privately. It's just not on their radar. So in order for them to get the right feeling, the weight of a gun, the size of a gun, how does it influence you when you move, animators need to know how to rig characters, how to rig weapons. Concept artists and 3D artists need to know how to model a weapon. And the big distinction here to make is that they don't use these as blueprints to model a gun, because these are not that accurate. They use them to get the right proportions, to get the right feel of the gun, and to, for example, feel what it feels like to actually move the bolt of a rifle. But when they actually model a weapon, if it's supposed to be a real weapon, we get better reference that is more accurate than these guns. But the important thing is that it makes a big difference to actually feel something physical if you want to put it in a game. This is what they can do here. And if we want to take it this step further, we can always go on extended research trips. We've been to the US to fire different guns. We've been to Canada to fire guns. We've been on Swedish military exercises. We have contact with law enforcement. We can get a lot of information from different sources if we need to.
If you are a smoker, this is also a place to remember, because smoking happens on the balcony. You need a tag to get out, but also to get in. So ask somebody who's from Ubisoft just to let you out, but make sure you're not left out there in the freezing cold of the south.
Yeah.
You guys want to see the sound studio? All right. So of course this is the sound studio. Ola is a veteran of the business, but also a veteran of Massive. You're on your 14th year now.
Yes.
Here, composing music and composed for Ground Control and World in Conflict, and also now for the current games, and also all sounds, of course. And we have, how many studios do we have now?
There are 4 post rooms and we have 1 recording room. There is 5 of us working here in the studio right now.
So we do a lot of audio. It's also because, as I said before, we like to have the game playable, but when you have it playable, you start wanting feedback. And audio is such an important part of just player feedback and helping you make the right decisions. So we do a lot of temporary voice and sound effects.
Yes.
And then we
This is
remake them all.
actually the recording room is here. So
Yep.
we record a lot of sound effects and voices and everything in here.
And as you probably know, because you're working with us, games is gradually becoming more and more accepted. Many years ago it was extremely suspicious. But one example of that is that Ola got last year the, what was it called in English? The Swedish
It's a Composers Guild Award.
Composers Guild Award.
Yeah.
So competing with classical composers and composers for other industries, and Ola was that year the best in Sweden.
Prototype 2?
No.
I'm trying to remember the event, what event it was.